Hey, good morning and welcome. We're in the Magnolia Lobby studio of the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center, Nashville, Tennessee, but not really. Upwardly Mobile Donaldson is where we call home.
Yes.
What I'm talking about. Yeah.
5 minutes from the airport. Heck yeah.
That's her home away from home. Eryn Cooper is in for Kelly Sutton this morning. The airport.
Yes. Good morning.
You went to Chicago over St. Patrick's Day. Tell me about the Green River. I saw your pictures, and not the CCR. Green River.
It was a whirlwind 36 hours.
Yeah?
I got to stop doing these weekend trips. I'm getting too old. I can't bounce back fast enough.
How old are you now?
I'll be 27 and a half in August.
That was the age when I moved to Nashville. I was 27 when I moved to Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow,
So,
twins. Well, I mean, I didn't move here when I was 27, but you know what I mean. Yeah. You know what I mean. Chicago was awesome. I went to go visit a friend from high school, stayed with her and her other roommates and two very sweet dogs.
So you slept on the couch?
I slept on a pull-out couch, which is a step up from just the couch.
That's what you want to be doing when you're 27 and single.
Exactly.
Sleeping on a pull-out couch.
Hey, living my best life.
It's like you're back in a college dorm.
It's reminiscent. It makes me feel younger. We saw the Green River. We started our day at a ripe 8:30 in the morning on St. Patrick's Day, and we did not come home until 11 o'clock that night.
Keep your photo in the bean?
The bean is fenced off right now.
No.
It is in like a little cage because they're working on it. It was kind of
to
sad. The poor bean. I don't know. It's under maintenance. I don't know what happened.
So the river, is it just green food coloring?
It's not food coloring. I'm told it's made from plants, and it's eco-friendly and not harmful.
Yeah,
and
kind of algae-based.
Yes.
So it shimmers.
Mm-hmm. And it only lasts about, I think, 5 to 7 hours. So it doesn't last very long. We saw it about an hour after they had dyed it green. So very fluorescent. Very cool.
Well, a longtime friend of ours, Lance Cowan, who is always here with other artists as their publicist promoting their music.
Yes.
And Lance said, please, Charlie, book me so I can talk about me.
I am my own publicist.
Me,
Yes.
me, old man.
Yes. I don't know if Lance is an only child, but I love the theory of this. Yes.
And Lance is going to join us in this 8 o'clock hour, and you're doing entertainment for Kelly Sutton this morning.
I am. I'm not going to say that I inspired Matt Ramsey of Old Dominion to do something, but it's possible.
Oh, that.
I'm not
That's
going
what he
to.
did. Oh.
Do you know what I'm
And
referencing?
you call yourself a mother.
No, not yet, dear Lord. And then Ernest is doing something really sweet to help out the folks here in Nashville with a really special organization that was known for helping a lot of folks after the 2020 tornado here in Nashville. So Ernest is teaming up with them. And then Post Malone keeps teasing us with more country material. So who he's putting out a project with, that is coming up in just a little while.
And in case you missed her earlier, Hannah Humes, who's a student at Vanderbilt University with Down syndrome, helped us kick off and celebrate Happy World Down Syndrome Day today. Best day ever.
We're
Best
wearing
day
our
ever.
ribbons.
She kept saying that, and that's, yeah.
You
that's
got
what
yours? I
Our
got mine.
ribbons represent this morning in studio for those of you watching on the Circle streaming platforms and Circle Now. The Tennessee House also for the state of Tennessee. This is a worldwide event today.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And this is Lance Cowan. Now, you don't get to see him too often when he's in the studio. He's probably been in here as much as any one person I know outside of a staff member.
Yeah, and they push me back in the back, keep me out of the way.
They being Charlie.
Charlie.
The penalty box. Penalty box is how we refer to it.
Because we have to have our pretty pictures and camera angles for TV.
Well, I usually wear a ratty T-shirt and stuff like that.
Our Circle
I'm
streaming
really
platform.
dressed up today. You know, so.
CircleCountry.com and the Circle Now app, which is available in your app store. But Lance Cowan, the artist, and I knew you for a long time before I knew that was a part of your life beyond publicity.
Yeah, I've kept that kind of secret for a long time. The only place my wife knew it, but that's about it. I did, I've been playing out. I play at, songwriter nights, but Nancy and Cole and Logan, my family, have been pushing me to do this for a long time. So, and then I realized I was being a lousy songwriter because I wasn't treating the songs right and not letting people hear them. So here we go, 65. I waited till the CD world was completely over, and I put a CD together. Good career move. You
Well,
know?
listen, vinyl made a comeback.
Yeah.
You know, somebody
it
just
did.
told me that CDs look like they're seeing a resurgence. I don't know. Maybe they were lying just to make me feel good. But I don't know.
I love how you phrased treating a song right. Other than letting people hear them, what does treating a song right mean to you?
Well, letting people hear it. You know, let it get. You know, I look at these songs like, you know, I've worked really hard on these songs, and to just keep them locked up away from people, it's not really fair to the song.
Oh, it's like
itself.
being a record collector, but not playing the record. It's
do
like,
that.
well, I don't want to
I
play it.
do
It's
that.
too. Well, what's the point of that? You got to play. But I remember I was hosting for Eric Markham our Route 650 program one night, and I played a song by one of my favorite songwriters, Dave Mallet from New England. I think a Maine or New Hampshire native. And I just happened to mention him to Lance. He goes, "Oh yeah, I got a couple of songs on that album," and I'm like, "You're a songwriter?" I don't know why I'm shocked about this in Nashville that someone would be a songwriter.
You can't swing a
but-
dead cat without being a songwriter.
Exactly. But that's when I first found out about
David
that
is
side.
man, what a remarkable songwriter he
Oh,
is
yeah.
too. He's and he and I have become friends. I haven't talked to him in several months, but man, he is a songwriter. Great guy too.
Well, if you were here as a publicist, we'd be talking about the Flatlanders, Joe Ely, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, Butch Hancock. I heard Jimmy Dale, the Flatlanders, singing Dallas. Have you ever seen Dallas from a DC 9 at night yesterday in my coming and going? I love it.
It's a jewel.
Love that sound, yeah.
It's a beautiful side.
Murph, of course, Michael Martin Murphy. Happy belated birthday. He turned 79 last week.
I can't believe it.
Nancy Griffith, Guy Clark, and so many others. You'd be here telling us what the latest is on them.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about what the latest is on Lance Cowan. So let's start with the bio. Take us back to Kentucky. You said rural Kentucky's where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up around Paducah, Kentucky, right about 5 miles from Kentucky Dam, and got out of college and went to work for the Benton Tribune Courier.
But tell
as
them about the home place, the little community where you grew
Oh,
up.
it's Calvert City. It's a chemical town, a lot of chemical plants there. My dad worked as a supervisor at Air Products and Chemicals, and I stayed there till I just couldn't stand nothing to do when I was, 25. But it's a wonderful place. A lot of nice people there, good, family values. And Calvert was a wealthier rural area because of the chemical plants. There was a lot of money coming in for that. So it's a nice little town, but I just had to get.
Yeah. Well, Charlie was familiar with Monkey's Eyebrow because of Kelsey,
Kelsey Walton, great singer.
That's crazy.
but was not familiar with Possum Trot.
Possum
if
Trot.
you'd like to give him an
Possum
update
Trot.
on
Yeah, Possum Trot's just a little, as you would guess, a wide place in the road.
Sure, yeah.
Right between Paducah and Calvert City.
Right.
And it literally, you come in and there was an old IGA
Right.
that, and you pass that and you're out of Possum Trot.
So if we were planning a trip, I could maybe stay at like the Weston Possum Trot or
They
Four
have,
Seasons
they have
Possum
a bunch
Trot.
of really
or-
nice hotels there. Yeah.
the
maybe an
Virgin
Airbnb.
Possum Trot.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who do you think we could find?
You've been there.
a good
Obviously, you've been there.
strapping tobacco farmer that would take Eryn to be
I
his
think
lawfully
you-
wedded wife if we took her to Possum Trot.
When I was
Okay.
there, all of my friends worked in the tomato fields, picking tomatoes.
Oh, how
in
about
the
that?
summertime,
All
yeah, there was a guy there who would hire a lot of the college kids, or that, or in the fall, you would go to work either what's it they call it, spiking tobacco,
Yeah.
and they would do that, or haul hay. That's how they made their extra
right.
money. Yeah. So yeah, it's a nice place.
See there,
nice
Eryn.
place to
But
drive
by the grace
through.
of God, you're sitting on the back of a tobacco setter in the hot summer sun
Hey, sounds lucrative.
in Possum Trot,
Sounds
Kentucky,
exciting,
I'm in.
doesn't it?
with a sign that says "Home of Lance Cowan."
That's exactly right.
When did you get to town, and did you come as a publicist or as a
No,
singer-songwriter
I came
first?
as a journalist. I went to work for the Nashville Banner,
Ooh.
and I was their.
Well, there's a
Williamson-
memory.
Yeah, I know.
Banner. Let's
I
pause
shut
for a moment.
I shut that place down.
I thought Joe Biddle shut it down.
Well,
Or maybe
yeah.
you're in tandem.
Oh, bid. Oh, miss
No, I was
bid.
just the Weasley Williamson County correspondent when they were building the malls out there. That was my beat, and ran into I don't know if you remember Diana Johnson from the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
She suggested I call Liz Thiels. I called Liz Thiels because you can't make money as a journalist.
Liz was one of my first contacts in
Yeah.
town before I got to town.
Yeah. Well, I went to work there. She hired me almost on the spot, and I went to work for her, and we represented, of course, Reba McEntire and Charlie Daniels.
Was
and
it called the Press House?
the Network Inc.?
Networking. Okay.
Yeah. And my first client that I was responsible for was Newgrass Revival. not a bad place to start.
No,
man,
that's
those
great.
guys.
Yeah.
And
They
then
represented Tim Menzies, too, in the early days.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's where I first met Tim.
And Sound 70, you know, of course, Liz was real involved with Sound
Charlie Daniels.
70s. Yeah. It was Ricky Van Shelton, Ralph Emery, I think was a
She's
client
the
of
one that
ours.
really brought what you know as
That's
the
right.
red carpet medallion ceremony to life, Liz Thiels.
Yeah. I think she was the first publicist in town that was really focused on music PR.
Yeah.
So she was.
Well,
I
she
miss
wound up at the
Liz.
Hall of Fame. That's why I referenced that event. Yeah.
Right, she did. She would take me to those Hall of Fame meetings with her because that was one of my accounts too. And I would sit there and next to her, and she would just be silent the whole time. And then she would say something, and everybody in the room would go, "Wow, that was smart." And
Profound.
She let me ride with her, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. There are times I wish I had not moved, but I went over to work with Vector Management. It was kind of hard to pass that up with Ken Levitan and Dan Goodman, and we managed it. When I moved over, we managed Steve Warner and Holly Dunn, Newgrass Revival, and Nancy Griffith.
Didn't have Hank at that point.
No, that was after me.
Yeah.
But I was stayed with Ken for 10 years, and by the time I left, he was managing Los Lobos and Emmy Lou Harris. And,
Well,
you know,
Ken famously was a roomie at Vanderbilt with Steve Buchanan,
I know, yeah.
who used to run this outfit.
Yeah.
Los Lobos.
Well, that must have been Party
was
Central.
so good for my elementary school friends.
You know, it's funny you'd say that. I was talking to somebody. Well, I'm playing, which leads me to what I'm playing this week.
Yeah.
I'm playing over at the Music Maker stage at Delgado, and I was talking to Manuel Delgado. Well, he's good friends with guys in Los Lobos, and
Awesome.
works on guitars. And that's probably one of the top 5 bands in this country for rock and roll. You know, they're so good. Everything they do is so good.
And La Bamba really
My
put
friends
them on
love
the
them.
map for everybody, right? Of that
But yet they're not
soundtrack,
in the
but-
Hall of Fame, which is
Yeah.
kind of amazing.
Yeah.
They're not in the...
Well, it's a Friday night CD release show. You referenced it at the Music Maker stage, Delgado Guitars, and that's at 919 Gallatin Road.
Yeah,
here
I
in
think
Nashville.
Gallatin Avenue.
And
It's
then,
just funny over there.
Then Station Inn, April 6th, Tin Pan South, which is one of the great events in
Yeah.
this town.
Yeah.
And So Far So Good is the new album, and a picture of great-grandfather, you said?
My great-grandfather and
Look at
grandmother, and my granddaddy is the little boy who's 9. That was 1900 when that picture was
You
taken.
could see it in the monitor there.
This
Get a better
this
look.
looks like a Netflix special,
Doesn't
or
it?
a
That's
series or
so-
something with like intrigue and like.
Somebody should call me and option that.
I mean,
pay a
seriously-
lot of money.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well, that's a,
Colorized. That's so cool.
This Heart of Mine is where we're going to start musically.
Yeah, thank you.
Give us a backstory on it.
When I first moved to town, I would go to the Bluebird and listen to songwriters because I thought coming to Nashville, gosh, country music ought to be easy to write. And then I saw guys like Don Schlitz and Fred Knobloch and guys like that, and I thought I was stupid to think that. But I went down and I used to go spend my evenings listening to those guys, and I came home one night and wrote that in maybe 20, 30 minutes. They were so inspiring to see that kind of songwriter, that kind of caliber, who can say so much in a few minutes. And of course, at that time I wrote that too. I was listening to a lot of Steve Earle and Foster and Lloyd, who we were working with Foster and Lloyd as well. So, yeah.
And this is Lance Cowan and his guitar at 8:30 on Coffee, Country, and Cody, who always comes to see us in the publicist role with a lot of famous folks. But he's got a guitar in his lap over there this morning. Going to play and sing something from his new album, So Far So Good. What's the best place to follow you and to get your merch?
LanceCowanMusic.com.
Okay. Any relation to John Cowan?
I tell people that he's my granddad, but that's not true.
No, that's smart.
That's not true.
Knowing that you've worked with
Smart.
him as Newgrass Revival.
You know, it was the first time anybody knew how to pronounce my name when I worked with the Newgrass guys, and I love John. I saw him play a few weeks ago. He's just as good as ever. The guy is so.
He's a Doobie Brother now, you know.
He is.
so how would they mispronounce Cowan?
Cowan
Yeah.
Really?
or Cowan.
Cool.
Wow, that's interesting. I would never have gone.
Cowan.
I would have just Cohen with an 8 with the H, like
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Huh.
I'm from Kentucky.
Yeah, that does
you know,
explain
they
things.
don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
as Loretta Lynn famously said on this radio station, somewhere in our archive it exists from the Kevin Anderson file, the Norwegian
Oh, this is
Nightmare,
funny.
when she was reading liners one day, and she pauses, and she goes, Kevin, hits wrote wrong.
We gotta find that. We gotta pull that. We gotta find it.
Brilliant. Man, oh man.
I didn't write that last part.
Just for clarification.
So is that officially now a Cowan Zimmerman composition?
Oh, I would love that, wouldn't I?
Oh my goodness.
I just don't want him to hear it because he'll shut it down.
Oh.
I wrote that with a friend of mine out of Cleveland named Terry Clayton, who's supposed to be listening, so I better mention him. So.
Yeah,
Terry.
because I'm thinking about kids of the baby boom and old hippie from the Bellamy's.
Yeah.
That time period, if you're I mean, I just turned 65, and when I was a kid, too young for Vietnam, but knew a lot of people who were old enough for Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Right
we
in
were
the
blessed.
wheelhouse.
It missed us.
Oh,
Everything,
barely.
all that missed us.
Barely.
When's your birthday?
December 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mine's February, and it just, like I say, both sides of it, even registering missed
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Kind of good for us.
So I'm curious, when you literally have had your whole life to make a debut record, how old is the oldest song on this album?
Good question.
Because you've been writing for a long time.
Probably.
You want to look?
Cheat sheet.
Probably.
Look at your set list.
Well, none of them were written yesterday. I guess probably the oldest one on here would be maybe Fields of Freedom.
Which would have been how old?
Oh, I probably wrote it 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
I watched Escape from Sobibor one night after coming back from seeing the writers, and I had watched Escape from Sobibor, and I played it one night at the Bluebird, and Janice Ian was there, and she came up after, and she was mad because the song is about a woman who escapes from a concentration camp, and Janice feigned anger that she said she has a Russian Jewish heritage, and she said she'd been trying to write a song about that for years and just couldn't come up with
You wrote her song.
Well, there's a line in my song that says the numbers on her wrist were her new name, and Janice took that line and she wrote a song called Tattoo based on that song. And Janice is remarkably generous because a lot of people would never credit where they got the idea. And she writes about that in the book and mentions me, and she and I ended up writing a song together that Joan Baez toured with for a year and a half, and didn't cut it, doggone it, but
Wow.
it's anyway.
Lance Cowan.
It's nice to see you from this side of the desk.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
As a publicist for so many
happened in the movies.
Oh.
publicist for so many famous folks who've come to see us, brought them to us through the years, been so kind in that regard, and now as an artist with a new album. So far, so good, so far from home. Love that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
So,
much.
and your wife's name?
Nancy, she's my wifeager.
Your wifeager?
She came in looking for the green M&Ms and making sure they were back there.
And so Easter weekend, you'll be married how long?
35 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, just went by so fast.
Happy anniversary. I just celebrated 44 on February 29th.
Wow, you must have gotten married when you were 12.
Maybe 14, 15.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I know. We got married in study hall. I do remember that. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bill. Thank
And for everybody else out there, that's 44 years on Leap Day, 44 years, 11 gifts. Go to school on Dad. Be right back.
Coffee, Country, and Cody on WSM.
Working our way to 9 o'clock. It's 8:46 in America's Music City.
The rejoin that the folks on Circle see of the extreme close-up of my face, it kind of creeps me out. Never mind.
But that's your face.
I know. It's like...
It's like people who hear their voice off, tape somewhere, and they go, "I don't sound like that." They go, "Nobody else in the room is laughing, looking around. Only you."
Just your unfiltered reaction.
all right.
We're going to talk about some pancakes.
Hey, first, tell people about YouTube and where they can find
I'm so excited
highlights
about
from the
this.
show, because this is brand new in the last couple of days.
Yet another social media project of ours. We now will be putting full episodes of Coffee, Country, and Cody daily on our YouTube channel on WSM Radio on YouTube. So everything you see here, after you watch it for 24 hours in the Circle Now app, you can go over to our YouTube and watch the full show for free. So, yay, every day.
Eryn Cooper in for Kelly Sutton this morning. Kentucky legend, the number one boneless ham and boneless turkey in the country, and being number one is no accident. They start with the best pork, raised in America's heartland in the Midwest. Then they use only the finest, hand-selected and hand-trimmed cuts of meat. Next, they double smoke their hams over real hickory wood. Owensboro, Kentucky, up there where Lance Cowan, our special guest this hour, is from, in that part of the world. The result, the most flavorful, crave-worthy ham imaginable. So it's Easter. It means what?
You need
Kentucky legend ham.
some ham.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you'll find out why they're number one. If you go to the web, you'll find out more, all kinds of recipe ideas. The glazes are where it's at for a lot of people, making your ham taste like something else.
Right.
Is that the purpose of a glaze?
I think so. Yes.
Any sauce substance has that general effect.
Are you like Kelly Sutton, Eryn, that you'd also someday strive to be the hambassador?
I think that'd be a great gig. My favorite animal is, in fact, a pig.
Well, there you go.
I got past the fact that means you eat them as a hambassador, so I'd be happy to do it. I'm ready.
The recipe that pops up on the homepage for glazes is pineapple and brown sugar glazed ham. Click Get the Recipe, and if you click on recipes, it'll give you breakfast entrees, lunch, dinner entrees, appetizer sandwiches, all that sort of thing, side soups, you name it. And then under glazes, if you just click on glazes, it'll take you to not only that recipe, but red pepper jelly glazed ham, hot honey garlic glazed ham. Oh, that sounds appealing. Spiced apple cider glazed ham. Those are the first few that pop up, in addition to the pineapple brown sugar, which is on the homepage.
I just want the stuffed pancakes.
Those look
that,
so good.
I found yours,
Roberts was
Mattos.
rolling. Yes.
I found yours.
What?
Ham glazed with whiskey.
Oh, like a bourbon glaze. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be very popular. Yeah.
That's when you want to party with some ham. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You drink the leftovers, what you don't use for the glaze. You can drink. Well, good morning again, KentuckyLegend.com.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. This is my favorite story today. I can't promise or even remotely guarantee that this was inspired by my recent actions, but it might be, because Matt Darci of Old Dominion has gotten himself a new free tattoo in honor of our friend Lionel Richie. Can we hear it?
Oh, my. Okay.
So the band posted a video of the frontman on Instagram yesterday getting a tattoo on his arm that appears to have a reference to All Night Long by Lionel Richie in a wavy cursive-like letters. The new ink reads Fiesta 4, number 4, Eva. Fiesta forever. It appears it may have been gotten when they were overseas for C2C in London, because the tattoo artist who did it, I saw on his page, he's a traveling tattoo artist and does pop-ups. So, and the caption appropriately read, "Never pass up the opportunity to get a free tattoo." That is exactly what I did with Kelly Sutton a few weeks ago at the Jelly Roll Lainey Wilson party, and my TikTok that got a whopping like 48 likes. Matt totally saw that and was like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Young enough to live long enough to regret it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But he can't go around like you telling everybody Jelly Roll's cousin did mine.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That did influence the decision. I mean, you can't pass that up. Come on, Bill. Come on. Come on. All right. In some more wholesome news, our friend Ernest and Second Harvest Food Bank have teamed up for this year's Stars for Second Harvest show at the historic Ryman Auditorium. It's happening on June 4th, and it's going to feature an acoustic lineup of country musicians produced and hosted by Ernest, which is perfect because he is born and raised in this area, and Second Harvest Food Bank helps feed those struggling with hunger in Middle Tennessee. They have a special place in my heart after the 2020 tornado tornado here in Nashville, they helped one of my friends who lost his house in Mount Juliet. His house was completely blown away. They showed up the next day, Second Harvest, with a full basket of food for him. So I love supporting them. We don't know who's on the lineup yet, but we know it's going to be awesome because folks like Keith Urban, Blake Shelton, and Dierks Bentley have partnered with them in the past. And if you want to go see this awesome show and support Second Harvest, you can buy tickets tomorrow at Ryman.com.
And you know what happened right after the tornado the next week? COVID.
Oh, yes. Because when I was in Chattanooga, the tornado hit like a month after this one, and we were already in COVID. So we were dealing with COVID and a tornado.
Today, the 21st of March, which, depending on how the calendar fell in 2020, could have been the first day of spring. Due to COVID, the Grand Ole Opry announced it would continue hosting Saturday night shows, but without a live audience.
Yep.
So that's, 4 years ago today?
Now available. New episodes of My Opry Debut, including Kid G.
Just walking in the building, walking on the stage and stepping in the circle, doing sound check. It's everything I ever dreamed of. I never thought that I'd be here. It's such a wow for me, for them to open the doors and be like, okay, you know, you did your thing a little bit different, but we'd love to have you.
Tonight he's making his Grand Ole Opry debut. Will you welcome Kid G?
Kid G, My Opry debut, along with Angela Johnson-Reyes, Artemis Pyle, Devin Gilfillian, lots of others. And you can find them on the Opry's YouTube channel. And tell them more about Coffee, Country, and Cody on YouTube one more time, Eryn.
That's right. Now, starting this week, we are uploading the full episodes of Coffee, Country, and Cody to YouTube every day where they will live forever. So if you want to rewatch anything after it expires, so to speak, in the Circle or the Circle Now app where my parents watch, you can go to our YouTube channel. So you can just search WSM Radio and watch us clowns every day.
So you said forever.
Forever and ever.
So that means
Amen.
like when Charlie and I expire, we will still be out there forever.
You will live on YouTube.
Wow.
Memories and history.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a rolling scroll of the video on like my headstone, just so people come visit, they can just watch me all the time.
Any idea what your expiration date is? Is it sooner rather than later?
This is morbid.
I'm good for 2 weeks after the date, though, so I think I'm all right. Kind of like milk. I'll be fine.
All right, Eryn Cooper, about 9:45. We got special guests in studio this morning. Darci, Lynne's coming to see us, got a new single. You know her from America's Got Talent on YouTube. And she's been at the Opry. Actually, I want to say it was our Opry debut that I hosted. And Charlie looked it up for me. It was 6 years ago?
I think 2018 was
Wow.
Darci's Opry debut. Yep.
She'll help remind me. We're going back to the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. Speaking of Kid G and his Opry debut, she's no longer debuting. She's been doing it a while now. She's a member of the family. Carrie Underwood, Out of That Truck, is coming up. So what are you working on?
Well, first I have to share an intrusive thought, and Jeff Roberts actually just did it. So you guys have all seen The Office. Yes, our viewers have seen The Office. Okay. Anytime Jeff Roberts switches to this camera, I feel like I'm Jim Halpert in The Office when he breaks the fourth wall and he goes, and just this
And
camera
directs
like,
the camera, right? Yeah.
So whenever I see it go from like a full shot to this, I'm like, I feel like I'm in The Office right now.
My favorite is the old Monty Python bit. So no matter what camera he goes to, at the second poof, it comes to you, you turn to the wrong camera. And then when poof, they find you there, you turn.
Well, we just recreated that on Circle. Yes.
So now
It's one of the greatest bits ever.
Jeff Roberts is going to do it again. He's going to. All right. So after we have our lovely visit with Darci Lynne, we are going to remember a music industry legend. Mr. Woolsey, Irv Woolsey, has passed away, and we're going to celebrate his legacy, especially with none other than George Strait. Post Malone is teasing a new song with Morgan Wallen, and we have a snippet of it. It is so good, Bill. I'm excited for you to hear it. And we're going to go over the Opry Next Stage lineup for a show that's going on in Texas in a couple months.
Speaking of Texas, Irv was born in Houston to John and Mavis Woolsey. I was reading that in his bio. And it was complications after surgery, apparently, for Irv at age 80. Great memories. Darci Lynne, welcome to Coffee, Country, and Cody. So what comes to mind as you look back at NBC and America's Got Talent, where you were the youngest contestant ever to win?
Oh, man.
And how old were you?
I was 12. So it's like about 7 years ago. It's crazy. I grew up on the show, basically. I feel like I measure my life on that show because they brought me back. And I remember one point I went back when I just got my driver's license, and I was like, it's like a family there. I was like, guys, I'm driving now. So, like, I grew up on that show. They brought me to where I am now, so.
Well, they first got to know you for your ventriloquism, and then you sang. And I found a quote from People magazine from Simon Cowell. A couple of weeks ago, Darci did less of ventriloquism and more singing, and we said, we think that's a big mistake. And so you completely disregarded our advice, threw away the puppets, and decided to come out and do it yourself.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Firsthand on the stage. Yeah, Simon, I was eager to kind of, see Simon's reaction to what I was trying to do. I think maybe the first performance I did on Fantasy League with, walking away from Petunia, I think it got lost on people what I was trying to do. Because I think people are getting tripped up on, like, oh, she's throwing away the puppets, which is not true. Like, I love my puppets, and I'm just opening another door and, being like, I do sing with my mouth open to everybody. I write music too, just kind of like, I also do this. So
I was saying off the air what big fans my family are of you. We have loved watching your journey, and they told me on the phone last night they were so excited that you were coming on today. And they were like, we could tell that because she was so good at singing with the puppets, we knew she was going to go off and do her own thing because she is so talented. And so they claim they predicted this. So
well, it's funny. It's funny because some people comment, it's like, but you're not famous for your singing. I was like, what? But I've been singing with the puppets. So it's like, wow, it's fun.
So how much easier is it without the puppets, though? Because you're not. It's less multitasking for sure, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's really different.
Yeah.
I would say it's easier. It's just different because I'm singing like for myself. Mm-hmm. It's coming from Darci, and I'm singing for someone else in a different character, and so it's different. But I mean, singing came first. I grew up singing, and then the ventriloquism came. So it's always been something I've loved to do.
It's so funny. Your season on America's Got Talent was about the same time that I was watching you. I also went to New York and saw Avenue Q, which was like one of the great musicals involving, the puppets as well.
Right,
so it was kind of crazy that same year was all inclusive, So
the most famous and first and most famous, I would think, in most people's minds would be Edgar Bergen.
Yes, yeah.
Or Jeff Dunham.
And then later Jeff Dunham, but Edgar Bergen, I mean, when radio was king.
Charlie McCarthy.
Yeah, Charlie McCarthy, long before television. And
easier to do to do on radio.
I know.
It's like no skill on radio.
And it worked. Amazingly, it worked.
Crazy.
And then, he was able to make that transition into television. And more recently, Jeff Dunham, which Charlie mentioned. And more recently, you. So when do you realize you can, quote unquote, throw your voice?
Well, so I met a girl who did it when I was around like 9.
Okay. Was that the Cinderella Scholarship pageant?
Yeah. So
and you went on to win International Mini Miss?
Yeah.
What does International Mini Miss receive?
Well, so the Cinderella program it's a pageant program, but it's not like what you see on TV, like toddlers and tiaras, and it's a good program and a really great way to meet other girls. But you just get to travel around to like local pageants when you win that title with the other girls that win in their category.
I have a great Casey Musgrave story. She grew up in Texas.
Okay,
in Golden, Texas, which is the sweet potato capital of Texas, and they have a sweet potato queen.
Oh, do
but
they?
They also have, just like your International Mini Miss, Little Miss Tater Tot.
Oh my God.
For the little girls. And she was first runner-up because another girl had a sparklier dress.
Oh.
Yeah. But apparently you had the sparklier dress this particular one.
Yes, but the girl that won the teen category, she was a ventriloquist.
Larissa, was that her name?
Larissa Bonaquisti, yeah.
Okay.
And so that's how I met her, because she did it for her talent portion. And I was just obsessed. I asked her about a million questions. I was probably the most annoying child ever. But I was like, so how do you do this? And what do you do here? Where do you get your puppets? And it was just, and I just was infatuated. And I just remember going home and I just I wanted to learn how to do it. I was like, I have to know how to do this. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And this is in Oklahoma, where you grew up, back home in outside of Oklahoma City.
And so over the course of that year, I kind of just tried to do it all the time, mostly in like my bathroom mirror. And I don't know. I memorized her routine. I learned how to yodel without moving my mouth. Like I'd show my parents. They'd be like, "Oh, that's great."
I'm looking at Mom over here. She's so sweet.
That's great, honey. That's awesome.
But they got you involved in the pageant programs to help you overcome shyness.
Yeah.
And boy, did you ever.
Oh, yeah. I think the puppets were definitely a stepping stone for that. 'Cause now, it's kind of when I was on a stage, they were like a friend with me in a way. And I think that's what gave me the confidence to now be able to perform solo and have a good stage presence and, yeah.
Well, we talk about it was 12th season of AGT, so it's 2017, and a year later, I'm introducing you on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. We were just talking about how quickly that amount of time has slipped away. What do you remember about that day and night? Anything in particular?
That was crazy. I do remember literally crying on stage. I was so embarrassed. Me and my mom just watched that video back. I think I was so nervous, and it was just such a big deal. But the most welcoming atmosphere ever.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. I'll always look back on it. It was funny because I remember on stage I was like, this is so cool because I'm sharing the same dressing room as Taylor Swift. And there's been such a huge line of Taylor's just great and incredible, but I think the audience thought that was funny because of the history of people that have been there besides Taylor Swift. And I'm over here like, Taylor Swift! It was funny. It was awesome.
Well, what we like to do right now is feature and get you to give us a backstory, a little setup on a Cowgirl song, which is a film that this song appears in. And who are the Imaginaries?
Yeah, the Imaginaries are good friends of mine, Maggie and Shane. They wrote the soundtrack for A Cowgirl Song, the movie that I was in. And then I got to write a song with them for the soundtrack, too, called Just Breathe. And I, came to them with this idea to write a song for my character. And they were like, oh, this is awesome. So we kind of ran with it, wrote a song for it.
Yeah. You're the girl that was in the Taylor Swift dressing room. Oh, my God. Yes, we have to do this. Just Breathe is the name of it. So before we play it, songwriting, guitar playing, ventriloquism, acting, which comes the easiest?
I would say singing, probably. Like the singing portion of it.
Was songwriting harder than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I would say yes. I think it just continues to evolve because I'll listen back to songs that I started writing which was in quarantine, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. But it's just like an evolution kind of thing.
Yeah, Willie Nelson famously said the first 100 or the first 1,000 you write don't count.
Yeah.
So you keep writing.
I believe it.
Initially famous from America's Got Talent back season 12 in 2017. Has since played the Grand Ole Opry and debuting on Coffee, Country, and Cody this morning, though. So that's good.
Yes.
That's good for us.
Yay!
Huh? So take me back. You mentioned growing up Oklahoma City, outside Oklahoma City, the Edmond area, which we know famously here with the Gaylord family.
Yeah. I grew up pretty much around Edmond, northwest Oklahoma City, and went to Deer Creek High School. But yeah, I've lived in like the same 2-mile radius my entire life.
But you've traveled all over the world as a result of your success in 2017, right?
Yes. I love to brag about this. I reached all 50 states before the age of 18 and before my dad.
Oh, wow.
Charlie
my
Mattos.
goodness.
You are so jealous right now, Charlie
that
Mattos.
I've been to 44 of the
44?
50. Yeah, I'm missing a few. So.
My dad was so mad.
I'm a Rhode Islander, so that's Rhode Island's usually the last one people like check off the list 'cause it's so small.
Alaska was the last one for me.
Yeah, I'm waiting on that one too. So,
but that was awesome.
I want to throw out some famous Oklahomans' names and tell me what comes to mind, what you know about them. Vince Gill.
Vince Gill, he is really funny. He's a funny guy. Funny story. I don't know if I should tell this.
Oh, please.
Oh, now you have
Please,
to.
please
Because
tell
if
us.
he's in town, he could be listening on the way to breakfast.
Well, he and Don Schlitz are eating breakfast right now.
Are they?
Before,
Yeah. Okay.
before I met Vince Gill, I had vaguely known what he looked like because I knew what he looked like, but I wasn't like 100% sure. Like if I was like, oh, that's Vince Gill, and I was rehearsing on a Michael W. Smith tour in the same rehearsal space as Amy and Vince, and so I got to meet them. And so a guy just comes up to me, and he's kind of scraggly looking, and he's like, so you're playing with Michael? And I was like, yes, I'm so excited. And I had no idea I was talking to Vince Gill for like 10 seconds. And then he mentioned something about Amy. Amy won't let me watch TV or something like that. And I was like, oh, you're Vince Gill. Oh, man, it was so funny. But he's wonderful. I was trying to teach him how to do ventriloquism.
Oh, that's got to happen.
Yeah, really. How about Carrie Underwood?
I mean, iconic, incredible. A lot of people said that my second performance I did on AGT of Push Our Luck, that it kind of looked like her. And I was like, I will take it. I love that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Kristen Chenoweth, an influence?
One of my favorites. She is a huge inspiration to me just because she has honestly done it all. And I feel like she hasn't been put in a box, and I love that. And I have 2 pairs of her shoes.
Oh, that's wild.
How'd you get those?
Because she has been so good to me. I've gotten to spend a lot of time with her.
Oh, good.
And sing with her too. Wow. And she was like, I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna send you some pairs of my shoes because we are the same size basically. Actually, I'm a little taller than her. But
How about that? So tell us about your characters, your puppets that we talked about earlier. How many do you have, and what are all their names?
So I've got quite a few, but the ones that I work with the most, I've got about 4. And it's Petunia the rabbit, Katie the cowgirl, Edna Doorknocker, the old lady, and then Oscar the mouse. Yeah.
Nice.
And as I recall, didn't you do the old Get By With a Little Help from My Friends with Petunia and Oscar on AGT?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a funny story because that was the last performance I did on AGT. It was the last round when I was 12, and I learned that song like just 2 days before I sang it live because we just could not figure out for the life of us what we were gonna do. So
and you're
I
somewhat
learned that.
limited on those shows too,
Yeah.
because of publishing and
Yeah,
rights and those kinds of
there's
things.
only so many songs you can clear, and so it just took forever to find.
Your YouTube vlogs are the sweetest thing. I love watching your vlogs. And 4 or 5 months ago, you came to Nashville and went to a recording studio and were recording your original music for the first time.
Yes.
What was that experience like then? And then in that time that has passed, where have you grown and learned when you're recording future music?
It was such an incredible experience because I had never recorded my original music before, and it's a really new avenue for me, but it's so much fun because I think one of the most fun parts for me was literally just getting to sit and listen to the band track the song because when everything comes together like that into fruition, it's so cool. And then the next day I get to go on vocals and have fun. But I was just to sit back and like, oh, this is my song.
Well, Charlie and I
This
talk
is
about
cool.
how much we enjoy going to sound check before the Opry shows. You get there a little
Right.
earlier, and they get to do a run through with the band. The artist does.
Yeah.
And it's one of our favorite things
And
all
I-
night long.
Oh, yeah. Just
And
to
the
Yeah.
public
watch
never
it,
sees it.
Watch it being birthed. You
Yeah.
know, it's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I walked in the other night, and Carlene Carter was back there with a band, and Easy From Now On, which was a big hit for Emmylou Harris. A lot of people have got that song through the years. Carlene wrote it, and she was just back there, and at the end of the song, they decided, okay, no, I'm going to do that 4 times. I'm going to go, and then later they come out to do it for real, and it's seamless. And all she did was just speak it. Hey guys, let's do this. Okay, got it.
Right.
So
It's wild. But yeah, I think what I learned from like the recording room is to just let the creative juices flow, because I think I don't know if for everybody it's like, oh, you want to hold on to how you like heard it when you were first writing it, but sometimes ideas just happen. And I feel like multiple minds are better than one, and so yeah. But I can't wait to do it again.
Yay!
What's your day like today? And how long are you in town?
Day like today, I'm going to visit some other local news stations and radio and have some fun.
Aren't you going to RFD? Did I hear you say? Okay.
RFD
An American
TV.
songwriter.
Yes. But I'm here till Saturday, and I think what's funny is, so do you guys know what pitch meeting is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love pitch
So I
meeting.
played pitch meeting on Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.
And I played an original song that I had written on piano a month ago, played it on keys, and I'd never played piano live ever. So it was so fun. And Eric Fortaleza, who runs pitch meeting, wants to record it while I'm here. So maybe we'll do that. I don't know.
Superstar.
Well, please come back and see us when you're in town again, all right?
I would love to.
We love it. Darci Lynne from Coffee, Country, and Cody. All over the world. People know her worldwide, so that works well at circlecountry.com and all our streaming platform links, as well as Circle Now. Available on demand for up to 24 hours. It is in your app store. And YouTube, Eryn Cooper.
That it is.
People can find the show.
WSM Radio
Okay.
on YouTube. First things first, we have to pay tribute to an incredible music industry icon. Veteran music manager Irv Woolsey has passed away at 80 years old. He was the manager and champion of George Strait for 45 years, and he passed away yesterday in Clearwater, Florida, due to complications from surgery. In addition to George Strait, Woolsey helped steward the careers of Leanne Womack, Dierks Bentley, Clay Walker, and Country Music Hall of Famer Ronnie Millsap as well. George Strait shared a sweet note calling him not just his manager for around 45 years, but most importantly, his friend for even longer. And with Woolsey by his side, Strait had sold over 105 million albums and notched more #1 songs, that's 60, than any other artist in history. Won several Entertainer of the Year awards across 4 decades, all with Woolsey by his side. And he also helped develop up-and-coming artists like Ian Munsick and our friend Kylie Frey. We're certainly going to miss him, and we're going to stand by for details on his services. We'll update you when we learn more about that.
You hear George and the Ace and the Whole Band playing a place to, I think he and his wife at the time owned this place called the Prairie Rose. A lot of people know Cheatham Street Warehouse. George and Ace and the Whole played there too. But Irv owned the Prairie Rose, and maybe he saw him at Cheatham Street, I'm not sure, and went, oh, you need to come play my place, and booked him as often as he could. So,
just a legend. Now, Post Malone. He has been teasing the country music world for so long, and I'm delighted to share that he has posted a snippet of a song with him and Morgan Wallen. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. There's this sort of overused expression now, like this song is going to be the song of the summer. Every artist likes to claim that. I fully believe that this could be the song of the summer. Let's take a listen. My favorite thing about Post Malone is how happy he is all the time, no matter what he's working on. You can just see the joy in his eyes with that song. And especially with this latest tease, there's all of these signs pointing to a full country album by Posty, ever since he was covering hits by Brad Paisley and Sturgill Simpson back in March. So we're ready. Just drop the album, Posty. We're going to make Kelly Sutton ask him at Stagecoach. You ready, Bill? Are you ready for a Post Malone country album?
not particularly, but that's just me speaking.
No, well, you can't stop it from happening, Bill.
Where was that? He was channeling Joe Diffie on the CMA Awards.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
big time.
Hardy, before the CMA Awards, I sat down with Hardy, and he said, we wrote a song together this week. So we know he's writing with all of the big folks right now. Moving on to Opry Next Stage. We now have the show that's been announced for the Grand Ole Opry Next Stage live from Texas. That's going to be on May 15th. Of course, that's the day after the ACM Awards, and it's going down at Lava Cantina in the Colony, Texas. And Jelly Roll, 2 years in a row now, he will be hosting that. He's coming for our jobs, Bill and Charlie. And of course, the show.
He makes more money singing than he will hosting if it's our jobs that he's going after.
That is, in fact, very true.
Well, they'll also pay him more than they pay us. So,
You think?
yeah.
Of course, the show is going to spotlight several of the country newcomers who are part of our Opry Next Stage class. Some of those include Ann Wilson, Chase Matthew, Madeline Edwards, and Wyatt Flores. You can see the whole lineup right there if you're watching on Circle Country. And Jelly Roll said the most perfect thing about it. He said, Opry Next Stage is important because I think it's creating a culture around younger artists, introducing them to the Opry the right way. And there's no more special of a co-signing country music than the Grand Ole Opry. And I simply have to agree. There's no better way to enter the industry than with the Opry seal of approval. And finally, real quick, Beyonce has announced that Cowboy Carter, her 8th studio album, also known as Act 2, is dropping on March 29th. Beyonce thanked fans for recently making her the first black woman to top Billboard's country chart and says this album has been 5 years in the making. If you're watching on Circle Country, she had just debuted the album art, her atop a large horse. She says the album is a result of pushing past limitations that were put on her and, quote, is a result of challenging myself and taking my time to bend and blend genres together. Again, that album drops on March 29th.
A large horse, kind of like Tyler Childers. 16 hands, at least 16 hands. Don't want your feet to drag the ground.
Yeah. And she has 16 carriages that just came out, too.
And Happy World Syndrome, Down Syndrome Day is today. Hannah Humes was a representative student from Vanderbilt University.
We got
her
our
on
ribbons.
Earlier this morning, got our ribbons in the Tennessee House. Earlier passed by now, it's probably already happened, resolution making 3/21/2024 Down Syndrome Awareness Day in Tennessee. We're back to wrap it up. Eryn Cooper in studio for Kelly Sutton this morning. She'll be back tomorrow. Charlie Mattos, you be watching basketball with Jackson tonight? Is that the idea?
I'm going to get a nap this afternoon.
Okay.
I got about 4 hours of sleep from the Opry last night. So, but yes.
And you're going to Dan and Shay, you and Kelly?
Yep, girls' night out with Kelly Sutton. But mildly. We got to get up at 4. So.
Baby. They're not going to end any earlier because you have to get up at 4.
Yeah, but we will.
This is what I've learned by going to concerts, and that's why I no longer go. Hey, I'll have my pick of the week in case you missed it earlier in the week. We'll repeat that from a guy that's got a brand new album coming out in early April. His name is Zach Top. He's played the Opry. As a matter of fact, he'll be back at the Opry on Easter weekend. And Friday, Chick Flick. Be here tomorrow.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.